Hello, Internet, wherever you are. Welcome back. It's Gintu. Back again to the root of today, your Arts one-on-one live coverage. That today we're going to be coming out with today's kicker and understanding to know what's really going to be popping out if we're going to be having a government that is subsequently rumor mongering and also bringing much of the shenanigans, telenovela, postcoms and intercoms of the day, and talking about we are democratic. Even if you hear about much of the countries that talk about they are democratic, they are not practicing democratic governmental things that are going to be governing the nation. We have to go direct to the point and talk about much of the people. You understand how the things are always giving its own course of the day. And today we're going to be tackling much of the issues and sectioned in a way that we're going to be understanding east, west and south, and also getting to know what's really going to be popping out as far as everything is in concern. We have much of the entitled moments that we have to talk about at this kind of the moment right now, and also handling them in a way that also you understand. Birds of the same feathers always flock together in a way that ontological species of the same plumage will always locomote in its own unison, or in the same unison, in a way that each and every kind of the personification, personal persons, and we can just call them the personas, or the person who is a personalifications, somebody at this kind of the team. Talk about this kind of the things are always are getting east, west and south, and we're going to be discussing and understanding, is it really popping out that is everybody going to be understanding what are we going to doing and what are we going to be popping out with and what are we going to be discussing at each kind of the moment. Understand each other's logistics and understanding each other's peripheral way of getting forward. To this kind of the way, we understand even the history. It has one of the person called Mobutu Sese Seko Kukumbanda Wanzambanga. This kind of the person, this kind of the rate, are going to be talking about it. Look at how the government of this kind of the people was, including up to date. We have Democratic Republic of Congo. Is it democratic? Look at China, it's a Democratic Republic of China. Is it democratic? Look at Korea Republic, talk about Democratic Republic of Korea. Is it democratic? We have to understand this kind of the democracy we're talking about. Look at right now what's happening in Nepal. What's happening there? Is that country, is it democratic? So sometimes we have to understand the ontological things that always come out in a plumage way, so they can have its own unison given to the same esquire as we're going to be handling the matters. My kicker of today comes in a way that you're going to be entitling to say, people say that we are YouTubers. Are we YouTubers? Are we YouTubers? Are we qualified to be in a level of talking about we're going to be the YouTubers who are going to represent Nyabohanse? If we talk about Nyabohanse come out with the YouTubers who are going to be representing it in a way that what are we doing to make it happen? We are leaking like dogs behind the scenes. We are not having the ontological minds of putting our own thoughts together and talk about what are we going to be driving together. Are we YouTubers? Are we? Today I help you, tomorrow talk about, oh, you know, now your time and conditions have to be applied. Are we YouTubers at this kind of the range? And I have a kicker of today, and much of the people should understand it. When we depend and talk about in the night time we need light, and why is the light coming in the light day? Talk about the daytime. Somebody can say it. When we need sun at night so we can just have light, we don't have the sun. And during the day, we have the sun when we don't need the sun, which is the daytime. And what is making it to be a daytime? Can you sense about it? Sometimes we have to think, rethink, and off-think about what are we going to be doing at this kind of the essence. You understand also we have this kind of the way of licentious laborious chores without interludes of the days. In a way that if we laboriously come out and talk about oh, you know, I'm a YouTuber. I have to talk about, oh, you know, everybody knows me. All the village here, they understand who Gintu is. Oh, you know, people knows I am uploading much of the videos. So that's what we call about the laborious chores of the interviews, of the hedonistic things that we're going to be performing outside there and talk about, oh, you know, we're going to be this way, we're going to be that way. What are we possessing? Are we YouTubers also? And what about tomorrow? We don't know what's going to be coming because YouTube will never be there for the decades coming. If we talk about now, YouTube will be like Kenya now decides there's no social media. Like in Nepal, what has brought much of the Gen Zs out to the street and fight for their own freedoms and make sure that their rights and everything that's going to be in concern the humanity is performed. Talk about we wake up and the government of Kenya, because of its own democratic Republic of Kenya, which is not democratic. We talk about, okay, tomorrow you're going to be waking up and find that there's no social media in Kenya performing. What are we going to be doing? People will kiss their own staffs and it will rain the rain of feces. And I'm saying this to get out and vamoose much of the people's minds elutively and talk about it. Look at the section everybody's talking about. I'm a YouTuber. Are we YouTubers at this kind of the range? Even Jack himself, to the esquire of the prolonged proverbs of the days. And they talk about Jack is highly hypotenuse fellow in a way that we can just come to the conclusion of talking about Jack should be given the mandate and the time to elaborate himself, come out effectively and talk about what am I going to do at this kind of the rate. But what is coming out from that kind of the fraternity we are talking about here? Jack is not given the mandate on the rights and the freedoms to express and talk about this is the concern of the day. But is it going to be the concern of the day? Let us talk not in a hypertenishka way or krinkum way of talking about, oh, you understand, this is going to be a developed Nyabohanse. Yes. There's a day I was discussing with one of the ladies at my G Castle. I was telling her that Nyabohanse is a town she refused very much. And she said that Nyabohanse is still a center. I asked about, we have to say something that we are rendering to get. In a way that if we have the municipality council which is guiding and making the oath consents and talk about this land belongs to this and this kind of the farm, you understand, in 1963 in Kenya got its own independence. And 1964, it became a republic. Since that time, the municipality that was there, since 1963, it had already taken, it's called a land survey. And they have all the positions that this kind of the land is governed with the government. This is the land of the government. They understand it. And up to date, from 1963, even if the land is utilized with somebody, when the government reaches that day that we want to be doing something, we will look for the public land and do it. Now that's the point we're ever talking about. Are we YouTubers? When somebody talks about, let me look for somebody so they can just make sure they're going to be representing their boss in this kind of the way or the other manner. Are we supposed to be in such kind of a class? Whereby when I talk about I want to be doing something meticulous today, tomorrow I will be already deflattened like a tire. When I talk about today, I'm going to be doing this at this kind of the level for this kind of the beneficiary of this kind of the person. Tomorrow I will wake up and I find myself guilty and pleading and talking about, oh my living God, what am I going to do? Please guys help me to do it out. Are we YouTubers at that range? When I try to talk about, you know, we are being formulated and tormented spirits over the incubus and succubus into our minds and talk about, oh, you understand what? Come out and depend on yourself and talk about what are we going to be doing at this kind of the range. We are told that, oh, you know, you are post-quamarizing our own horizon and we govern this kind of a zone and we're going to be doing what we're going to be doing, including whatever money you're going to be talking about at this kind of the range. Are we YouTubers at that range? At the level of, let us not be belaboring much of the points at this kind of the nature. and talk about the realistic things that always comes out according to the conceptuals of the script of today. We're going to be talking about when we come out and talk about we have to depend and talk about let me do this. I'm undertaken and talk about this kind of the person is now behaving normally. You are no longer part of the team because you are disgracing and bringing much of the shenanigans to the telenovelization of the village. When I talk about give much of the boys the hope and talk about no, we have the future which is tomorrow. Let's have this kind of the young generation. They will become the future of our tomorrow's light. And we talk about no, everybody should depend on himself. If your father talked about that is how it could be, could we be there? And are we YouTubers at this range? If our own things to make sure that, oh, you understand, I should not proceed because of this kind of the person should see this kind of the person and talk about this kind of the person should be undertaken at this kind of the way, not to be in the personification of the manners here. Are we still in that light of moving forward? We are still on that light of talking about when are we going to be allowed to make it happen? We understand it's because of the povertiness that is just there in our own zone. And I'm telling you as a fact, take it to the bank. When I talk about I'm povertized, and I say that I was poor to this kind of the ecosystem, when I come up and talk about I'm going to be doing something strategically and something which going to be bringing much of the good tension, which is the development to the village, they'll ever talk about now you have got it, maybe you are in Freemason. That is the YouTube we are talking about here. When I come out of Amusively and talk about I'm going to be helping this kind of the society, I am undertaken and talk about I'm threatening. Is it the YouTube street? Are we? When you try to talk about no, this is the way we should be driven because we should not look at the money. This is the possession that we are just defaulting our minds and defaulting our way of movement. We are undertaken that, oh, you know, you are jealousy of this kind of the person who is at that of the range. When you go direct to the pinpointment of pinpointing the points and coming out with much of the conceptual points and govern them and talk about I'm going to be making something out of this kind of the conceptual script. Some people talk about no, you are trying to copy it out, you are trying to make this and you are trying to make this. When are we going to be getting that kind of the range? You understand, always friends always locomote together, which is always coming to talk about the birds of the same feathers locomote or flock together in a way that if you want to diverse it into a way that much of the people should understand the English of today, they should just go direct and talk about ornithological species of the same plumage will ever always locomote in the same unison. In a way that if you talk about this kind of the YouTube, it's here to help this individual, these people, this community, this horizon, this ecosystem. Is it helping? What is the difference between a man-eat-man society we are talking about here? Today you come out and talk about I'm eager because today you're going to be showering, and when you go and get the water and to the river, you talk about no, this kind of the water, no, it doesn't reflect my own personal way of the hygienic way. Or my genotypic ratios and the phenotypic ratio of my own blood, which is maybe all negative or positive, doesn't reflect this kind of the water because it might give me much of the diseases which are the skin paralysifications. And how are we going to be? When somebody comes out and talk about I like sun, and whenever the sun shines, you talk about this sun is too much, you get and just rush to the shelter. You come out and talk about I like rain, and whenever it rains, you rush and take the umbrella and talk about no, I don't like this kind of the rain, it's becoming too much. What am I going to effusively come out with? I'm titulating this kind of the point so they can just make a meaning. Too much of the people who are bad-minded will never understand Gintu to this kind of the position because the linguistic always linguistize to this kind of the matter, which is English is Englishing. So back to the conscience of the matter. I've seen so many people whenever I'm standing and I'm in Nyabuhanse, people pass and talk about, no, You get out from there. When this kind of the people will spot you with the Gintu, you are done. What is met at this kind of the time is Gintu becoming one of the satanic people in the village. I'm just not understanding, because I'm trying to put people in a mind of depending that, oh, we should be naming some of the people, always tagging them that, oh, you have to tag. That is the absquently manner of talking about you are titulated in your minds, and you're just been faultively, you are curtailed in a way that you should just follow this kind of the pathway and talk about, no, I should be in this position, I should be in that position, I should be in this kind of the thumbnail, I should be in this kind of the way. How long are we going to be talking about you're going to be the YouTubers? You understand, I've said this kind of the point I'm talking about. All of us, we are in the YouTube platform. We are all poor in this kind of the village. That is it. Who is rich? Nobody's rich. Nobody's rich. Everybody's talking about how am I going to get the flour of today's eating? How am I going to get this kind of the sugar of me to get a salt? Or how am I going to get something to table it onto my house and talk about tomorrow will be another day? How long will we survive in that range? Very few. When we come out and tell the people that also we pass through that kind of the matter, but we have to handle ourselves. And tomorrow, they'll come out and talk about, oh, I like what Gintu is doing. Oh, I wish I knew I could be in this kind of the program. The time is not yet passing, my friend. You are on the right track to go. Because if you titillate your mind that it's in this kind of the bureaucratic format I have to do with it, you have a long way to go. When this kind of the country of DRC Congo, because it's one of the richest countries in the world, having more than 34.1 even not billions, 34.1 trillion US dollars underground to take its own minerals and become one of the leading economic countries in this kind of the world. But where is it? Talk about Mobutu Sese Seko Kukunzamba wa Zambanga. Or you can call him Mobutu Sese Seko Kukumbanda ya Zambanga. You can just understand this kind of the crinkum way of handling this kind of the matters. You'll come to understand why we will remain to be poor in the village, yet we had a light that was to light ourselves and become some of the people who could be so genetically modified in a way that we will be so bigger and also locomoting our own town of Nyabuanse and expressing it to the world. And talk about this is a YouTube zone. Right now it could be one of the village that is having so beautiful houses, so good area, good roads are expressing to each and every the area. But what are we doing? We are killing the future. We are thinking about we are making it. We are liquoring much of the young generation, giving them liquor, buying their lands, leaving them like squatters, and we come out and talk about, it's because I have money, I have to buy whatever I need. That is the YouTube we are talking about. What about tomorrow? This kind of the people we are living as squatters, which are the children of tomorrow. Where are we going to be having them tomorrow? Where? Nowhere to be found. And we are still talking about here, I am loved. Because people have jealousy about me. But you're not thinking about tomorrow. The village you are, you'll be having the squatters of tomorrow coming to you talking about, you're the one who bought the land. Now keep us. Or you'll be just getting them out like dogs and talk about, no, your father sold me the land and we finished at the seal, that kind of the zone, at that kind of the point. Are we still at that kind of the persistence? When we come close and talk about, let us fix this kind of the post-com together, some people talk about your jealousy of them. It's one of the points are making us to be stupid in a way that we cannot understand the future, which is tomorrow, which is going to be coming. Look at how many people have been talked about, help me in this, help me in this. At the long range, whenever you are used and in a standardized way, you are thrown out like a puppet and talk about, I don't want ever to see you in this kind of the horizon. Are we still YouTubers here? When I get money, the only thing I do is to talk about, oh, you know, A, B, C, D. It's to talk about, you know, oh, if it could be not this kind of the person, if it could not be this kind of the person, I could not be there. Why can't you be that person? Just a kicker of today, and we have to understand, we're going to be having a source of income, but we'll be the poorest people in Nyabuhanse. Why am I talking so? We will be like Democratic Republic of Congo. It has assets and talk about it's democratic, but it's not democratic. I tell you as a fact, it's not democratic. In Nyabuhanse, we talk about we are democratic, we help each other to become who we are. Yet the people who are helped are not coming from the same zone we are talking about. The same zone, we are nullified and we are talking about this kind of the people are disgracing. When we ever come and we talk about, we have amusively, our minds are thinking about tomorrow, but not today, because the future falls tomorrow, not today. We are trying to look for a better tomorrow. We have the resources which are here. We have fish ponds. We have lands. But we cannot use our minds and talk about, are we going to be doing our own things and to this kind of the lands? We are talking about, no, liquor is the best opportunity for me to get and to get forward. Because when I liquor, I speak very meticulous English. When I liquor, I sense positivity. When I liquor, I become so a genius person in the village, and even I can give some advices to even lecturers who are involved in this kind of the village. That is the thinking capacity we are having as the people who are in this kind of the older area. And we are talking about, yeah, tomorrow is another day. When will it be another day? And we wake up talking about tomorrow will be another day, in a way that how I've slept today, I talk about how to sleep because tomorrow I'll just shoot a video. Is that the way we are thinking still up to this kind of the time? And when I come out and talk about Gintu A, Gintu B, Gintu C, they talk about, oh, Gintu now is talking about, oh, you know, A, B, C, D. Gintu has built the house, now is talking about A, B, C, D here. When Gintu has built the house, is now talking about this kind of the issues here. I will ever be speaking because I've ever been speaking and talking about it. Because when we see directly who and which kind of the person is benefitically talking about, I have bought this kind of the land from you, I want to change your life and become like me. Why are you triggering this kind of the person with the money so it can just go and liquor and come out to be the Mihem and the Mihemko and the village then and talk about, oh, these are the people that we need. So they will just be talking bad and good about us. They will be reporting much of the people who will be talking about us, and these are the people we like. Whenever they come, these are foot soldiers we're going to be having. What about tomorrow? And the same the genotypic people you're talking about here, they're just left vacant in the system and talk about, oh, you know, I wish I knew, you know, they lied to me, oh, you know, they came with money, oh, you know, money is Satan, oh, you know, they whenever they gave me money, they promised me wives, oh, whenever they gave me this, they promised me to go to Canaan and drink milk and honey, oh, you know, A, B, C, D, too much postquams. But are we going to be in that kind of the level again? When are we going to be strategical, including the people who are behaving normal? They're the people who are learned to the society. And what about the people who left the school and talk about, I want to be equipping myself, and they never had even an opportunity to get that knowledge you are having? We are still talking about, oh, you know. That's why we always come out and say, ceteris and palambulas, colonel and autogratis of any speech must authentically and palambulate the great matter of the medulla oblongata, and which is precipitatively just opposed within the crinkum of the subverted textual and obligatory expectations of the day. Are we going to be involving to have it coming out? What are we doing as the nature? When I help you, you come out and talk about this kind of the person was not helping me after benefiting from me. When we come out and absolutely preach the gospel and you talk about this kind of the people are just satanic because even Satan sings good in church. And one day, Satan will ever sit and talk about, let me watch this kind of the people what they are doing. Including right now, the Satan is watching in Nyabuhanse. What's really happening? Because are we going to be developing or development? And How are we going to be making it to happen? Because everybody's talking about, I want to see who is this person sponsoring Gintu? Who is this person sponsoring this kind of the person? Who is this person sponsoring this kind of the other person? At the long range, you're going to be talking about, oh, you know, the person you are supporting, I don't like the habit. Let me tell you the story. Let me give you the videos. Let me give you some shots. Let me give you some posts. At the long range, you find the person is stranded. The project was running. The person is standing still. And talk about what is it? My friend did it. That is the personification we have. And nobody will ever get us from that kind of the way. Because that is what we are in Nyabohanse. We will never move. Because we ever talk about, oh, we're going to be developing. We're going to be doing this. We're going to be doing this. At which zone? And how long will we be depending and talk about, oh, we have to depend on this, we have to depend on that. How are we and how long will we survive in this street? Talking about, oh, I have a sponsor. Whatever you do, I will just have a sponsor. Oh, you know what, ABCD? You know what, ABCD? How long will we survive in that street? How long? And obligatorily, and when we come out and talk about, this is the way we have to conduct ourselves and talk about A, B, C, D. When somebody looks at Gintu and talk about, oh, this is Gintu. No, I cannot meet with Gintu. Maybe I meet with Gintu at night. And this is why we call about the camera. And that, oh, it's only specified people. 3 people in the zone. And talk about, oh, this kind of the people, whenever they see you with this one, you'll never go to this, you'll never go to this, you'll never go to this. Stupid mind of the highest order. In a way that we will have to depend on personal people and not depending on ourselves and talk about, yeah, I can make this kind of the thing to move. How long will we be in such kind of the way? And how long will you stay at that kind of the panel? We have a long way to go still. And that is the way I always deal with it pertinently. So as people will be elaboratively understanding my talk of today, because a bit challenging. And I know that much of the people will talk about ABCD. You will see them. A, Gintu B, Gintu C, Gintu D, much more. And I'll be tuning and gravitatively coming out with my tune so as people will ever be preached and people should get the knowledge, the acknowledgement, and much more. How many people have been talked about you're going to be sponsoring you? How many people right now they're talking about, I wish I knew, I could know this kind of the thing that's happening this way. And when you come out and talk about, no, I don't like this kind of the habit. This person brought this kind of the person to my life, but what the habit I'm checking here, it's not correct. And when you come out and talk about, I don't like this kind of the nonsense, you are told your own kismat is gone. Why? Whenever you say that I have to be dependent and I have to do my own things, I don't want to follow you anymore. They talk about, no, you will ever live in the mud houses. You will never move from one position to another. You will never do what I'm doing. And people never come out and talk about, oh, Gintu will never be like them. Who told you I want to be like them? Don't be a fool. I understand. We are making it to all the stuff you are doing. God knows why and how. But also God is not the one who is telling you that follow this. God is not the one who is telling you to follow this. It's your mind. You have said that I have to go to Nyabohanse. I have to follow this kind of the hand. I have to make sure that I'm not meeting with the Gintu anywhere. I have not to be spotted with the Gintu. I have not to do this. So you are thinking about you are giving Gintu a hard time of moving. You are now giving Gintu a better position. I don't have much of the work to talk about, oh, I have this kind of a visitor coming. I have this kind of a visitor coming. Too much. They are coming to discuss and understand who you are. At that range, I am out of it. So that's the best way for us to go. And that's why I talk about how long will we be staying in this kind of the YouTube. And are we the YouTubers? Are we the YouTubers, the real YouTubers we are talking about here? And the street, when we come out and talk about, we're going to be helping this kind of the person. Whenever the other person comes to talk about, no, I'm the only person who is allowed to help this kind of the person. The stupidity of the highest order. And we're talking about we are YouTubers and we have to support each other. Oh, people hate me. In which kind of the manner? The first component of your caution, presuppose. It's always presupposed to get direct to the valid points of how we're going to be talking, how we're going to be solidizing. Right now, people are building, yes. People are buying lands. People are maneuvering. We like about the platform we have. It's one of the biggest resources that we have in Nyabohanse. It's like a natural gas. If we ever underrate the opportunity, we will explode and the gas will just get out and we will be burnt. And we will need much of the can talk about, oh, you know, this kind of the resources we are having, it has made this kind of the scar to my body. Please, the same a platform, please, can we make it happen again? It's gonna be so misery, so complicated, so delusionized. And how long are we gonna be into that? I'm not becoming so talking about how the things are going to be coming or humiliating this kind of the content. But I'm talking about in Nyabohanse, we're still under the siege. And we need a coup for us to move. And this coup is to make sure that it's going to be emphasizing the emphasis and emphasizing the emphasis to this kind of the people who talk about, oh, it's only me, you have to be with me, so as you can just be the one you need. You are not a demigod. That's the point I ever said that it's because of some little money that we are striving, all of us, to look for, so as you can live at least a medium life and talk about you're going to be living in a life that is medium. But at the real Esquire, the money that we are talking about we're going to be looking forward to is of a man-eat-man society. I use you, you use me. We found each other in the cell, we be jailed, we do whatever. You do whatever you need, this kind of the stuffs, east, west, and south. But the end, we'll come out to talk about, you know, I used to love this, I used to do this, I used to do this. I loved this, I loved the other one. But at which rate are we going to be at that kind of the moment? How long will we be in such kind of the moment? How long? We are lacking the momentum of movement. Keep it tuned. If you're first time watching this kind of the video, I know it has been so challenging. A little bit Englishing is Englishing. Kizungu kubwa, a little bit. Big English. But that is it. That is the diversions and also the plumages of the day we're going to be moving on with and making it happen. Coming out from the G Castle from this kind of the point, keep tuned, keep it locked, because much of the things are still happening to the ground. And I'm going to be grounding them as you're going to be understanding which kind of the powder we're going to be coming out, considering the sieve you're going to be having. And to the kick of the day, the rope you're tied with is the rope that will help you, the size of it, to feed more. We have the projects, but the projects cannot be projectizing. They want to project on us on how to project the project, getting to the projectations. Keep it tuned. I'm going to be coming to you in a short while. Coming back to you in a short moment. Here we go. Guys, I understand so many people are going to be new in this kind of the channel, but you have to groove together the team and making it happen. I know it has been a while a bit coming out from this kind of the fish farm. You understand what is just performed here at the fish farm here. The fish ponds, the fish farm industry. Rearing of the fish to a fish pond called aquaculture. This is the zone that is giving us much of the entitlement to talk about we are ever family, we are ever villagers, we are ever community. But when we talk about if you need my land here and I deny, you are told that now you are now somebody to be behind the scene and talk about this is the horizon for you to suffer behind the scene. Keep it tuned, much elaboration gonna be coming to you when I'll be back to the fish pond and making it happen. And everything is coming to you live, which is one-on-one, coming from the G Castle live. Guys, back to you again in the G Castle here at home. Gonna be balancing much of the stuffs, how they're gonna be coming here. So already here we have this kind of the lintel, talk about the steel benders, and we're gonna be tying up the lintel stage here, and we're gonna be moving forward. Every day we're gonna be moving forward. I see the gentlemen, they are here to make sure that everything is just getting forward. So it's trying to push. Simutu apande juu. Yeah. Simutu apande juu kabisa. Panda juu kabisa usimame huko juu. So they are just trying to make sure that everything is getting correct here in terms of putting the steels inside, so they can just now it's only remaining to talk about we're gonna be pouring the concrete. So they are trying to press it. Nigana ingi ni kona ndio ingi. Hizi ndo nataka zipishane kwenda huko. Oh, kuna zingine zimetoka hapo chini. Oh, so it's trying to formulate others so they can just make sure that everything is happening. So panda tu hapa, panda hapo, panda hapo, panda huko juu. Yeah, climb up. So guys, the work continues as normal. As you can just see how the things are just getting around here. And everything is so fantastic at this kind of the point here. Back to the G Castle also, I'm gonna be getting through here. We have some maize inside here still surviving here. So already guys, talk about this kind of the people, they have already dropped much of the wires that we're going to be at this kind of the room. And I think this kind of the room still, they're going to be having the fabrication still, talk about the gypsum, and also they are still undergoing the process of the gypsuming way to make sure that everything going to be so successful here. Still we are on it. We have all this kind of the two cements still available only. So when we come to this kind of the area now, it's going to be so shining because yesterday he applied the third coat at this kind of the room. So that's why it's now looking so gorgeous, as you can even see from this kind of the video here. So it's now looking very smooth, and it's only remaining, we're going to be having some of the sandpapers that you're going to be using in terms of making it happen. Look at this kind of the sandpaper, it's P120 you're going to be using to scrub. And if it's going to be used in terms of scrubbing, it means that it can just leave it very smooth like the way it is here. You can even see at this kind of the area. So everything is so fantastic. I think electrification, we have finished everything. We're going to be having some lightings here at this kind of the edges where you can just see and spot some of the wires. And also we have the main sheridan can just be placed here, and also we have some small ones, some small lightings there. So already we have combined our thoughts that this G Castle is going to be lit. Talk about the whole snake lights, they're going to be lit in one talk about one socket, and one switch, not a socket, one switch, and to make sure they're going to be lit very properly. Also the kitchen going to be having its own this kind of the flower going to be lit on its own, to make sure they're going to be having its own switch to lit it on. So that is the way we're going to be getting everything done here. So by today I'm just remaining with this kind of the bag here only for this kind of the skim coat. And we understand this kind of the room, it has taken so many 15 bags already, they are gone only for this kind of the sitting room and also the kitchen, which is an open kitchen here. It has taken much more. Whenever we come to electrification, already electricity, it's here. We're just waiting for the installation of all the gadgets that are necessary for the lighting system and much more, to make sure that everything gonna be growing very fantastic. Today the skimming guy has not yet arrived because today is on Sunday. We have other people go on Saturday, they're gonna be coming on Sunday. So we have such kind of the characters to develop at that kind of the party. So that's how everything is just grinding around again and again. So the G Castle, still we are on it, and also my mom's kitchen. And that's why I said about yesterday that I'm building something which is very fantastic here, in a way that I'm gonna be producing using something called biogas at this kind of the area to make sure that the modern kitchen they're going to be using the same biogas that's going to be used at this kind of the framework here. Already I talk about the whole is fantastic, and the only thing that's remaining is now the construction. So I'm going to be calling this kind of the gentleman. Oh, my phone is still inside there, so they can just make sure that it's only that you're going to be coming to trim it, so as it can just be so circular the way they measured. Talk about the measurement, how it was. So it has to be done what is called the leveling of this kind of the hole to make sure that everything's so good. So it's a 5.5 feet down, and it's just more fantastic there. So already it's done. So I think about we're going to be constructing it with an immediate effect. And at this kind of the rate, we have so good greens here. Some of the people call it kalalu. Here we have kalalu here, and that's why I face this kind of an area a bit to make sure that they're not tempered much, because it's one of the best foods here, food stuff. We have two types here. We have the red, no, three types. We have this kind of the kalalu, we have this white one, and also we have the red one like this one here. So they are all represented here to make sure that everything's so good. And it's gonna be so fantastic whenever we have such kind of the food that is coming out of this kind of the greens that we always have. And I think our home here is a bit blessed in terms of this kind of the kalalu actually, because they're all over the farms outside here, and that's the way forward. We always talk about that's the way forward. Already the bricks we are moving, and Gashagwa told me that, oh, this kind of the soil that you dug, this kind of the pit here, it's gonna be having more than 7,000 bricks. I was thinking it was a lie. So already the field is full. Mambo vipi? Mambo iko chonjo? Kila kitu iko fiti. Safi. So I thought about it was a joke, but the field is full, and it's no need just going to be drying here a bit to make sure that everything is getting forward good. Hey, don't climb here. So Gashago will kill you. Don't bring your stupid here. So the dogs also, whenever they're going to be it's stepping on top of the bricks here, and the Gashago are never going to be coming telling me, oh, Gintu, no, your dogs are the ones which are making my bricks to be in a problem. But that's nature. The dogs have to naturalize, and whenever I am available, they know that they are so safe. Exactly. So back to where the bricks are, and I think they are now drying up, and we are about to commence at the talk about the kiln, which is the brick kiln. And here they are just stored. There are so many bricks stored here, and they are now enough to make sure that we're going to be having a kiln which will have as the good bricks that we're going to be having at this kind of the moment here as we get forward here. So it's just a little bit of the recap, which is what is just trending out, and what is getting us in move to make sure that everything is just moving from this kind of the time. And I appreciate much of the people who have been there talking about, again, we have to get forward and make it happen. And kudos and appreciation to each and every kind of the person who has been there to talk about, oh, again, we have to get forward. You know, like right now, this kind of the house that the kitchen that I'm building here is a bit hidden in a way that much of the people never see it, because we're having a little bit of another talk about this kind of the iron sheets that are just enclosing it not to get out in a way that people can just talk about, oh, how it's going to be coming. So when I want to be demolishing such kind of the wall, the mud wall that is there, much of the people talk about, oh, there's another house going to be constructed there. So again, we'll talk about, oh, you know, this kind of the A, B, C, D. But that is nature. I'm not given much of the tension with such kind of the things here. So on top of the G Castle, everything is running good, and the G Castle is looking so awesome, clean, because it has been raining cats and dogs east, west and south here, and that's the way forward here. So still we have, oh, the basking here a bit in the evening. It's so stretched in a way that it looks so gorgeous, so califragistically very nice, and you can come and relax on top here. It's only that whenever the GCAS are going to be in a complete way, I'm going to be putting a Wi-Fi here, and we will be relaxing and getting the moment getting forward. In the evening time, you can have your own laptop, you can have your own things, and you can just come to the top here, relax, while a little bit some of the things are just cooking behind. Even if it's sweet potatoes, there's no problem, you can just eat. That is the way forward, and I appreciate much of the moment and every kind of the time. So guys, today I have passed through Mr. Joseph, and I found him in a very pathetic background still, and I found that even the house is a little bit tough, so dirty. Since it was just washed the last time with those kind of the ladies, I think about he need regularities, and he need to be regularized in a way that he should understand on how to do some of the things. Even if he's so old, sometimes it gives us much of the headache. At the end of the time, we'll be told that, oh, you know, to do this. So I've got the house is again dirty the way it was, much more. I don't know if we're gonna be using the same house like a toilet. So some of the things are not happening so perpendicular, but that's nature, and we're going to be naturalizing with it. So guys, coming out from this kind of the point, I'm going to be talking about everything so possible as we make it happen. So let me go direct from this kind of the channel here, so you can just see what's really trending. Much of the people will talk about, oh, Gintu, why are you walking there? No, it's just a walking path, like it's concreted. There's no problem here. So these are how this kind of my mom's kitchen is looking like, and that's how good and the nature it is just belonging. So much of the people talk about, oh, Gintu, it looks so fantastic here. And that's the nature, and it's very tall. Talk about it's like not even 7, it's like 8 feet taller, and I think that is the best moment for us to have in this kind of the time. So already they're installing those kind of the steels inside to make sure that we're gonna be having the concretion, but I don't have that money for the concrete. I think about I don't have money for the cement, by the way. I talk the fact. I have only 1.5 cement there. I don't know if I can have, they're going to be using like 10 cement to concrete here, as I'm going to be burning much of the bricks at the other side to make sure we're going to be finishing up the continuation of this kind of the kitchen here. So that's why I'm always hurrying about it, to make sure that when the biogas is in a finish line, we should be in appropriate manner in the kitchen to make sure we're going to be using that kind of the gas more meticulously, because that's the way forward we're going to be doing here. And I like this kind of the work, because this kind of the gentlemen, they always have this kind of the work, very gorgeous work, and that's why I always told about this kind of the engineer always have. I always tell him that, oh, give me your people. They always do much of the meticulous job here, and you understand, you know how you always understand each other, each kind of the person. Talk about me and the engineer, we understand each other, because he's the one that I was introduced with at the first moment, and is the one who is making this kind of the things outside there to run more fantastic and more equal at this kind of the point. So guys, at this kind of the rate I'm going to be talking about, if you're going to be supporting Gintu, you can support Gintu, so you can just make it happen. You can buy some of the cement, or you can buy some of the skimming coat. Everything is possible. There are person who can talk about, Gintu, I want to support you to do the kitchen there, because I like to see whenever your mother gonna not have such of the suffering in terms of sicknesses about the smoke and much more. I'm going to be supporting you with the kitchen. There's no problem. We can talk about, we can just make it happen. Somebody can talk about, Gintu, no, I want to see the G castle in a finish line, and I see you are relucting a little bit. You can support Gintu to make it happen in the G castle also, and other things will just run as smooth as possible as far as everything is in concern. So I'll just talk about, thank you very much. Everyone has been tuned and locked in and talking about Gintu. We should just move forward and make it happen, and always positive vibes, and always getting forward. Forward forever, backward is never. That's what we are ever entitled and talking about at this kind of the rate. So I'm going to be getting down. Also, the dogs always follows me to make sure they're going to be protecting wherever I'm just moving to. So whenever we're going to be coming to the fittings, here we're going to be putting much of the fittings, and now again, whenever we're going to be reaching to the fittings, it's going to be so worse, because fittings are so many. Talk about the sockets, talk about the switches, but I'll go with them small. So talk about a section per section in a way that I cannot go with them in a hurry. Talk about, oh, I should make this kind of the stuff quickly. No, I should just go with them slowly by slowly, and that is the nature I'm going to be doing it. And the G castle will be in a complete, because right now, even from outside here, you can even see how it's now looking, and it's very meticulous at this kind of the point here. So we ever make it happen as far as we are just moving from one position to another, and supporting Gintu and giving me Gintu a hope, and talking about Gintu, this is an encouragement for you to move forward. I appreciate, and I say that thank you very much, as we ever make the G Castle one of the favorite and one of the best G castles outside there. The best houses ever coming out, the G castle behind me. And this is the califragistic moment that I ever tangled to talk about. If you're first time watching this kind of the video, subscribe, consider by subscribing, liking and sharing, because ever we have to get forward. And if you're going to be supporting Gintu, support Gintu. Whatever you can just talk about Gintu, I want to move forward. And what are you lacking? You can just contact me +2547 0049 0047. And you can just get each other there and tanganize and talk about let's move. And this is the point we have to go, and this is the end.